The Discovery, Chapter 17, Part 2. David and Midnight strolled through the city at a leisurely pace. Midnight leaned against David's leg the entire way, happily swishing her tail back and forth as the pair discussed menial things. Several ponies saw them and happily waved. The occasional, "Hey David," and "It's good to see you guys again," was thrown their way. But most ponies didn't even spare them a second glance.
I think it's safe to say that they are fully used to you.
Midnight said.
Yeah, only took what, 6 months? Not bad if I do say so myself.
David replied. They shared a smile before finding themselves in the middle district of Canterlot. Midnight quickly directed David in the right direction, and within a few minutes, the three tribes was in sight. Midnight found an additional bounce in her step as the Cloudsdale-themed clouds came into view. David smiled brighter upon seeing the excitement in Midnight's eyes and hurried his pace to keep up with their energy. Finally, they rounded the last corner, and the rest of the restaurant came into view. There were marble columns on the first and second levels of the building, while the third floor was made almost entirely out of clouds. The front sign was the next thing to catch David's eye. The sign read, "The Three Tribes," in elegant cursive, along with a pony from each respective race forming a stylized circle around the writing. At the top above the pony circle, there were stylized versions of Celestia and Luna standing across from each other, with their horns touching. A wave of magic seemed to be sprinkling down onto the three ponies below.
Heh, they're touching tips,
David remarked.
Oh my gosh, you're such a child.
Midnight replied, barely containing her giggling.
Well, Luna recommended this place, right? That means she has to have seen this. Oh, I have to make that joke to her next time I see her,
David said with a wicked grin.
Come on, big guy. Dinner first, then you can go and make your innuendos to the Princess of the Night, who just so happens to be my boss. On second thought, don't do that. Oh, it's too late, so my plan is already in motion,
David replied, still grinning like a madman. Midnight just shook her head.
All right, David. Dinner first, though. Well, duh. How can I continue my evil plot on an empty stomach?
Midnight walked over to the front door and pulled it open with her magic. As David stepped in, the first thing he noticed was how dark it was in the building. All three stories seemed to be dimmed down until only atmospheric lighting remained. There was just enough red and blue lights to make eating possible, while also being relaxing as well. The second was that the center of the building was hollowed out, allowing a stage for a small orchestra on the first floor to be the centerpiece for each separate level. There were railings with tables seated alongside them on each floor, allowing guests to eat and enjoy the source of music while they ate. A soothing melody filled his ears, nearly rooting him in place. David didn't even notice the hostess trying to get his attention.
Excuse me, sir?
The hostess asked.
Huh? Oh, sorry, I was just enjoying the music. It's very nice,
David replied, slightly startled by the hostess.
No problem, sir. How many?
The mayor asked.
Table for 2.
Midnight answered for him. She gave David a wink before continuing.
If you could put us on the second level, that'd be amazing. Of course, ma'am. Please, follow me,
she replied. The hostess had a coat of pure silver, and her mane and tail were bright red, making her easily stand out in the darkened environment. David and Midnight effortlessly followed the mare through a myriad of tables and chairs, most of which were loaded with ponies, griffins, and even a couple of minotaurs. She led them to the end of the room, where a wide staircase wrapped around what appeared to be a wooden support beam. They ascended the stairs and reached the second level. While the first level looked slightly more aesthetic, with marble floors and cool lighting, the second level adorned a slight rustic look. The floor was hardwood, and the lighting was warmer. The continuous glass window lining the entire floor allowed the nightlights of Canterlot to creep into the environment, breathing life into the otherwise quiet floor. The hostess led David and Midnight to an empty table alongside the railing overlooking the orchestra. Midnight used her magic to pull out David's chair, and albeit begrudgingly, he took his seat. Midnight quickly sat down opposite of him.
I don't think I'm ever gonna get used to you pulling out my chair and opening doors for me,
David whined.
Oh, hush! It's just a polite thing for a mare to do for her stallion,
Midnight said, taking her seat.
Well, back home, it was the polite thing for a man to do this for his woman. Maybe we need to do a trade-off, like,
One day you'll do it, then the next day I will. David started, before stopping himself upon noticing the giggling hostess next to him.
You two are absolutely adorable. Here, these are your menus. Your server will be with you in a few moments,
She said, managing to stifle her giggles for a moment. David fought back a blush, while Midnight smiled brightly.
So, still want to trade off every day? Or do you see how silly you're being right now?
She asked with a smug grin.
Fine. I won't make a big deal about it anymore. It just feels weird is all.
David said with a defeated sigh.
Alright. How about this? You get to open doors for me and pull my chair out on the weekends.
And Friday, David corrected. Midnight giggled.
And Friday. Good.
David said, perking right back up.
You're unbearably cute when you're being petty.
Midnight said, sticking her tongue out at David. Says the diabetes-inducing pony wearing a sexy black dress. It's not fair that you can be that cute and sexy at the same time. David said, sticking his tongue out back at Midnight.
What can I say? I'm just that good. Anyways, let's see what they got here. I heard their salad is amazing.
They both opened their menus and scanned the dinner entrees. Midnight's eyes fell on the fettuccine alfredo, while David's mouth watered upon seeing the sirloin steak.
See something you like?
Midnight asked, noticing David's wide eyes.
Yeah, they have steak.
David replied.
I take it you like steak.
Midnight said with a knowing grin.
You have no idea. I'm surprised they have it. I mean, I thought cows were sapient here.
David asked, hesitation beginning to creep into his voice.
They are, well, mostly. Further south towards the Badlands, cows aren't sapient. In fact, it's really the only cows in Equestria that are known to be capable of basic thought at all. That's why the Griffins are allowed to cook steak here. They go to the Badlands, bring the meat back here, then cook it and sell it. They have to have an EQDA advisor go with them to collect the meat to ensure the cow they killed wasn't sapient by any definition. For obvious reasons, it's extremely illegal to kill and eat a sapient creature in Equestria.
Midnight explained.
Well, thanks for explaining that. I was worried for a second that they just abducted some cow from his family and killed him. I gotta tell you, Mid, with how everything here seemed to be able to talk and think, sometimes I wish I was a herbivore like you, just so that I wouldn't have to worry about getting that kind of thing on my conscience.
David replied.
Don't worry, David. Equestria is highly regulated when it comes to that kind of thing. Besides, I'll make sure you never end up in a situation like that.
David didn't reply. He simply smiled and went back to reading through the options on the menu. After a moment, a new voice drew David from his reading. Hello, you two. My name is Golden Ray. I'll be serving you tonight. The waiter, a golden-brown earth pony stallion with a silvery mane and tail, filled David's vision. His distinct orange eyes shone in the dim lighting, and he stood before them with a notepad strapped to his hoof. Can I get you some drinks to start off with tonight?
Sure. Can I get a strawberry daiquiri and water?
Midnight asked. Of course. That's actually one of our most popular drinks this time of year. Excellent choice. Golden Ray said. At Midnight's smile, he turned to David. And what about you, sir?
I'll go for the lava flow and some water. That looks fun.
David said. An excellent choice, sir. Do you both know what you want to eat, or do you need some more time to decide?
I think we both know.
Midnight said.
I'll go for the fettuccine alfredo, please.
Very good. And for you, sir? Golden Ray asked, writing down Midnight's order all the while.
Can I get the 11-ounce sirloin with the vegetable side?
David said with a bit of hesitation. Very good choice, sir. How would you like that cooked?
Medium.
Very good, sir. We have head chef Gustav here from the Griffin Kingdom. He's a perfectionist, so I think he'll be very happy with your steak. Golden Ray replied. He took their menus with a hoof and threw them onto his back, before heading off to give their orders to the kitchen. Well, at least he's not visibly upset, David said with a shrug.
I told you, David, nobody cares if you eat meat.
Midnight chastised.
I know, it just feels weird, you know? Eating meat in public, in a land full of vegetarians. I mean, I know you don't care, I eat meat around you all the time, but as for the rest of Equestria, well, I just don't want them to go back being afraid of me again. Call me paranoid.
David admitted.
You are paranoid.
Midnight replied with a smug look on her face.
And you're adorable. Good. That means we can be adorable together.
Midnight said, supporting herself with her elbows on the table and leaning forward. At this point, it's just slice of life, and I do not mind that at all. Anywho, let's get on to our lively donators. Top donators: Jessie Smith, Star630, BadassWaffle, Only One Thing, Ceru, Orion, and IronSky. Matchfuck109, JockeTF, Tuxard Beta, Norris, Black Moon, Pastel Skies, Awesome Nolan, Stu Hex, Sword Brother Mortar, Domiko, and Library Sub 9052, Will, Chris Twinkie, Russell, Shadow Moon, Luigi 88, Chancellor Crust, Big Smoke 369, Bobcat, JGF, Murder Princess, and many more fantastic people. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and live life to the fullest.